The Nerdgasm Talk podcast is brought to you by Spaces Philly. If you love podcasts, go to spacesphilly.com where you can check out Lulu and Pop, Both Sides, Turntables, Jump Thought Super Tongue, and the Nerd Coalition's very own No Gimmicks Needed. Visit spacesphilly.com today. And now, feel the Nerdgasm. Now, the next movie we're going to talk about, John Wick. Yes, Mr. Keanu Reeves himself. They're going to be shooting 4 and 5 back to back. Now, I actually like this, especially with the timeline of the John Wick movies been going so far. Just have them a week of, like, honestly, this whole series has been going on for 2 weeks, I think, in the real timeline.
Yeah.
It hasn't been that long.
So if they're just going to keep going that route, I'm totally okay with them filming it back to back, because look, this man has done everything you can, and just all he had to eat was like nothing and a shot of whiskey. I forgot what he had. But yes, I am excited to see this. The franchise has moved over to $579 million internationally since debuting in 2004, according to NME.com. So I am happy about that. The production is to be filmed early 2021, so they're going to get right into action. How do you guys feel about this?
How much are they sketch?
I was trying to figure out the little boy that I was thinking about for Pinocchio.
Oh,
the little boy from Young Sheldon. That's what I was trying to figure out. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, you told me to go ahead. We told you to go ahead.
I know. I think it makes sense because one, Keanu Reeves ain't getting no younger.
Yeah, that's true.
Back.
He do it now while he still has the energy and still cares.
You get all
because
I'm gonna go with the latter on that one.
Because it's nothing worse than people get into, like, you in a sequel over and over again, and then by the time you get to the 5th, 6th, 7th one or whatever, you phoning it in. Okay, so
Bruce Willis.
Oh God, yes.
That was not a shot at anyone specific, but I think it makes sense to just do this if y'all really want to drag John Wick out to 5 movies. Just get it done and over with. I do think 5 should probably be the last one, though.
I heard 6. I heard they were doing up to 6.
Okay. Well, then he gotta die soon. Then, like, I mean,
the person that he gotta kill has to die first. He's not dying until he does what he has to do. So, unfortunately, it's just not our choice.
I mean, I get it. It's just like, I just don't want this to be like the Fast franchise where it's just like, all right, now we on 26. How many of these are we doing?
I'm okay with Fast doing as many movies as they want.
I knew you was going to say that.
I am totally okay with that movie doing as many as they want.
For me, I think it's an excellent choice. And actually, I'm a little upset that they haven't done this sooner.
Right.
Big blockbuster movies, because this was only known as a Lord of the Rings thing.
Right, yeah. Because
Lord of the Rings is the only one that was like, we're going to shoot our movies back to back. And you have a different kind of feel to those movies when you shoot them back to back, because like, it feels like the story's still going. If like the actors are still in it, opposed to like calling them back 3 years later, like, man, you know,
we got to get this magic back, kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. I'm like, man, are y'all in the middle of something right now? Upset, but no, it's like we're back to back. The energy's still there, everything is still high, and you can feel it in the intensity in the movie, and it's a great carryover. And I think big franchises that have series like that should be be more considerate of doing that, because right now life has played his ugly hand recently.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of stars you have signed up for different movies get old, they die, they get sick. These things happen. The Avengers did Infinity War and Endgame back to back because they knew Stan Lee is knocking on the door, and unfortunately he did. But when they got the Endgame out, but if you look at, just like you brought up Fast and Furious, there's no Paul Walker.
Right.
And Paul Walker was set to be in these movies for a while, because Vin Diesel already said before 6 of them came out, it was going to be 10 movies.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, like, you could have benefited from, like, say if we're doing, like, oh, hey, we're going to record after Tokyo Drift. You'd be like, we're going to do 4 and 5, then do 6 and 7, and then you could be talking about a whole different thing, and then it could be like, well, while we're recording 8 and 9, Paul Walker passed away, and like we almost got the series done by now. And you can release them whenever you want to, but the movies are done. Instead of that, now they got to go right. And like once again, did anybody expect Paul Walker to die the way he did? No. And did anybody expect that he's gonna die that young? No. But this shit happens, and it sucks.
Now I will say, I agree, because it does also avoid having to wait on folks. It avoids what's happening now with the whole Black Panther 2 thing. So Ryan Coogler goes off to help produce another movie that we're going to be talking about later in the podcast. So now it's like, all right, well, you got that, and then he probably has another project that was lined up. Now the pandemic has hit, and then so it's like, when do we get to shoot Black Panther 2? Okay, so you're available. Is Chadwick available? All right, so Chadwick's available. You're available. Is Denai Guerrera available? You know, it avoids those kind of conflicts. You got to make the money worthwhile. But to be like, all right, so you got to turn down these other projects that may want you, because we want you to shoot, you know, these 2 and 3 movies back to back to back like this. But I think for that purpose, it does work when you think about instances with the Fast franchise with Paul Walker. However, that formula only works in, you know, if it's not going to be a whole bunch of different stories, or if you don't need to include things that are relevant to the time in the movie.
Right. I agree, because I would think the same thing, and I was like, why would they not shoot this all at once? One, many people don't know if this is going to work, so it is a gamble to use all that money to record everything at once. So, because I know Endgame kind of did the same thing. They started off doing everything together, and then they reshot a lot of stuff afterwards. So yeah.
So I mean, you are right. It is like I said, it's a possibility. You take a gamble either way. But when you're dealing with movies with stars that are obviously older,
popular.
Oh, and popular. You know what I'm saying? If you want to do a franchise, and once again, also, you're asking these people to play almost the level of demigods,
right?
The superheroes and stuff like that, to the point where there's a certain shape they have to stay in and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you do better, huh?
That's why Hugh Jackman left. He can't keep up.
Exactly. When you
I ain't mean to say it like that, but
no, like I was saying, even though like that's what they probably should have did when the X-Men rebooted in 2011.
Yeah,
First Class,
skipping 10 years, saying
exactly like let's do First Class and Days of Future Past back to back. Then we do Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, and then that way you can set up an ongoing story to the point where there's not 4 different visions for a story that should be all together.
Right.
There's no overseer. So if John Wick got the similar story and it's been working along with that story, keep that before somebody changes, like Star Wars.
Right.
The Disney version. If they could have did Star Wars all together.
They could have, yeah.
Like honestly, Star Wars could have been a whole block. They say they filmed a 6.5 hour movie and you just cut it up and send it out like that. That's what you could do with Star Wars.
Right.
But you end up having 3 totally different movies.
And now one of your stars don't even want to come back.
Yeah, man. Which good for him. I wouldn't want him to go back. He has way too much potential.
Yep. So yeah, I'm cool with this move.
Awesome.